If Germany won WW1, would World War II still happen? 1918. Across the mud-choked fields of Europe, where barbed wire twisted like broken ribs and artillery thunder had shaken the earth for 4 straight years, history veers off its familiar path. In our real timeline, Germany collapses. Starving, blockaded, economically shattered, torn apart by revolution, and overwhelmed by waves of fresh American troops. But in this world, something different happens. A small Allied miscalculation, a final German breakthrough that succeeds more than expected, a political shift in the United States that delays reinforcements, a diplomatic wobble in Britain that weakens resolve. And so, Germany wins the First World War, not by glorious conquest, not by marching into Paris or toppling London, but by forcing Britain and France exhausted, bleeding, bankrupt to negotiate before the full weight of American manpower arrives. A peace treaty is signed. Not Versailles, but something more like the Treaty of Brussels, written by the victors, not the defeated. No humiliation for Germany. Instead, Germany stands tall as the architect of post-war Europe. And from this moment comes the great question. If Germany won WW1, would World War II still happen? Or would the entire 20th century be rewritten from the ground up? To answer, we must step into a world that never existed, but easily could have. A world where every political, economic, military, and cultural foundation shifts. If Germany wins WW1, what does the world look like? Completely unrecognizable. 4 empires that collapsed in our timeline still stand. The German Empire stronger than ever. The Austro-Hungarian Empire fragile but preserved. The Ottoman Empire weakened, but rescued by German aid. The Russian Empire still Tsarist, still oppressive, but intact. With no Russian Revolution, there is no Bolshevism, no Soviet Union, no communist superpower, no ideological clash between fascism and communism. Britain and France remain colonial giants, but deeply shaken by defeat. Their prestige crumbles. Nationalist revolts spread across their colonies. Japan continues expanding across Asia, facing far fewer restraints. And the United States? In 1914, America is not a superpower. Rich, rising, ambitious, but not global. World War I, in our real timeline, is what thrusts America onto the world stage. Without it, the U.S. remains geographically powerful, but politically isolated. No massive army, no interventionist doctrine, no global financial dominance, no industrial military complex, no leadership role in Europe. Without WW1, America enters the 1932 as a wealthy nation, an industrial nation, but not a global superpower. Which raises the next question. If Germany wins WW1, does WW2 even happen at all? Would WW2 still happen without a German defeat in WW1? The short answer, yes. But it would look nothing like the war we know. The Second World War of our timeline is born from German humiliation, economic collapse, Hitler's rise, fascism, the Treaty of Versailles, revenge, politics. In this alternate universe, there is no Hitler, no Nazi party, no Weimar Republic, no hyperinflation, no radicalization fueled by bitterness, no mass unemployment to exploit. Germany remains authoritarian, militaristic, imperial, but not vengeful or self-destructive. Yet conflict still brews, because even without fascism, imperial rivalries remain. Germany versus Britain, Germany versus France, Germany versus Russia, Germany versus Japan, Japan versus the West, colonial subjects versus European empires. WW2 still happens, but with different causes, different alliances, different horrors. What happens to the United States in this timeline? In our world, WW1 launches the U.S. into global leadership. Europe borrows money from America. America becomes the world's banker. American industry explodes. U.S. shipyards, steel mills, and factories become unmatched. The U.S. emerges as the only stable global power. But if Germany wins WW1, none of this happens. America doesn't become the financial center of the world. It doesn't gain political leverage in Europe. Its military remains modest, coastal, passive. Isolationism intensifies. Intervention becomes unpopular, almost taboo. Even worse, the scientists and intellectuals who fled Germany after WW1 and WW2 in our timeline, Einstein, Haber, von Braun, countless mathematicians and engineers, never leave Germany. They stay, strengthening the German Empire instead of building American scientific supremacy. No Manhattan Project powered by European exiles. No rocketry program led by von Braun. No brain drain benefiting the United States. This single shift derails America's rise as a technological superpower. Would WW2 still erupt if Germany dominated Europe? Yes, but not against Hitler. Instead, WW2 would evolve around great power collisions. 1. Germany versus Britain, France, the Second Colonial War. Germany, triumphant, pushes its influence across Europe. Britain and France, still possessing vast colonies, resist losing global dominance. A second war becomes almost inevitable, a war not of ideology, but of empire versus empire. This war becomes one possible version of WW2. 2. Germany versus Russia, the Great Eastern War. Russia, humiliated by its earlier losses, seeks to reclaim territory. Germany seeks to extend its sphere of influence into Ukraine and the Baltics. A massive continental war between Berlin and St. Petersburg becomes highly likely. This, too, could be the WW2 of this timeline. 3. Germany versus Japan, clash for Asia. Japan seeks dominance in China and Southeast Asia. Germany, strong and influential, wants the same markets and territories. Instead of being Axis partners, Germany and Japan may become adversaries. Their tension becomes another possible spark of a world war. 4. The United States enters but not as a superpower. If Germany dominates Europe and Japan dominates Asia, America eventually feels threatened. But unlike 1,941 inches, our real timeline, the U.S. military is weaker, industry is smaller, technology is behind. Allies are fewer. Global influence is limited. If America joins this alternate WW2, it joins as a lesser power, not as the leader of the free world. And in several plausible scenarios, the U.S. could lose or be forced into compromise. The 20th century might not be the American century. It might be the German century, or the Japanese, or a bipolar Europe-Asia world with America on the sidelines. The final answer. If Germany won WW1, would WW2 still happen? Yes, but not the WW2 we know. No Nazism, no Holocaust, no Hitler. But still, great power conflicts, shortages of land and resources, rivalry between empires, colonial resistance, militarization, naval races, competition in Asia, unresolved tensions in Europe. WW1's absence doesn't eliminate war. It eliminates one version of war. Another rises to replace it. A war that might be Germany versus Britain, Germany versus Russia, Germany versus Japan, Japan versus the Western powers, or a combination of all three, and the United States. In this world, the U.S. does not become the superpower of the 20th century. It becomes one major nation among several, not the dominant one. WW1 is the reason America became a global giant. Money, industry, influence, alliances, prestige. Without that war, America rises slower, while Germany rises higher. And in the power vacuum of Europe and Asia, new conflicts ignite. WW2 still happens, but in a different shape, with different heroes, different villains, and a different outcome. History doesn't just bend, it rewrites itself, and the 20th century becomes a century not of American dominance, but of German momentum.